are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports One. And we are back. We got the full crew in the house. That is what it's all about. The Yankees, out of any team in the league, are the best equipped to handle a blow like this.
I think there is a higher power at play here. He's due law of averages. That dude is the ultimate scrub. It's trash. Yeah. Every person you have in there is fucking trash.
Next game, you're going to see a big performance. You can see it in the end of the game, and I'm just totally excited for this.
And we are back. Welcome to another edition of the Sports Port. And once again, it is the Barnes and Tony Show. Renee from the couch. And I do think it's fitting that it's rainy and gloomy on a day like today, Tony.
I couldn't agree more, Brian.
Don't you wish we were talking about Augusta National?
Yeah. It would be the perfect tone for it, dude. That's for sure.
Oh, man. And we can't even talk Wells Fargo Championship yet. They're just all unfortunately negative every which way we look, Tony. But you know what? That's what we do. We get through it. And we talk about the tough things. So let's just rip the Band-Aid off and go to the world of the National Hockey League.
Here's Matthews. Scores! Hat-trick goal!
My goodness, this is a great shot.
Big hit on the far side by McCarr. He flattens Jordan's skull. Oh, my goodness.
Next to come right back. Terrifying and robbed by Shesterkin. That's brilliant from Igor Shesterkin.
It's a breakaway to win it in overtime. McDavid scores the winner in overtime.
All right. So last night, of course, Game 7 between the Rangers and the Devils. And unfortunately, the Rangers scored as many goals as I did last night. A 4-0 defeat at the hands of the New Jersey Devils, blowing a 2-0 lead, losing the remaining four out of 5 games in the series, and the second shutout for rookie goaltender Mika Schmid. Really, in my eyes, an embarrassment and something that there is just no excuse for. It just didn't make sense at this point in the series that you don't have an answer for Schmid. I understand Game 6 you did, but also there was something to be learned there. You started off slow, then you had loose pucks going in your direction, and this is a game where you didn't, and the execution I just think was very poor. There were too many times where, either the goal is off the mark, or it just seemed like there was also a lot of softer shots, which we know how well Schmid's played this series. A softie is not going to be enough to get it through the net. I mean, it's that simple. That was just so tough to see. You just think about all that this team's been through this year, all the pieces that they had, Kane and Tarasenko and bringing back Mod and even, Nikola, and for all of that, to go to waste is pretty heartbreaking. And I just think it's one of those things where you could make, every excuse in the book you want. But at the end of the day, it just wasn't good enough. And it's disappointing. And I don't think you can really give, any concrete answer for why it happened other than poor execution. And I just, as tough as it is, Tony, if you could just offer some colorful insight on last night's game and the series in general.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, to talk about just last night's game, singularly, the Rangers really didn't play a terrible game. They had some phenomenal bouts of defense, some good little spurts of sustainable offense. I guess really just looking at it, I guess a little bit generally, right? I mean, Yeah, like those were two good things the Rangers had, but one bad thing was that the offense just, wasn't enough. I know there was 31 shots on goal. Devils had something like 24, I think, but those, like you were saying, a lot of those shots were from, the point, where it was just like get it on net, try to get something going, which is a great attitude, but
they were so soft. Look, give me the exit velocity on some of those. Schmidt's just going like this, like he's playing catch in the backyard, Tony.
I know. And it was just the way they just like the offense started, right? They would push up the neutral zone. If they got past the neutral zone, that's great. But then they would get into the Devil zone, into their offensive zone, and then just get a shot off, and then it would be right back the other way real quick. There were very few times where there was like, oh, they dump it in, they control it, they shoot at the rebound, bring it back to the point, and reset sort of deal. Which we saw the Devils do so well the entire game. I mean, their shifts, they just didn't have an answer, honestly, for their speed. The Rangers did not have an answer for the Devils' speed. Jack Hughes was seemingly everywhere as well as on the ice the entire game, too. I feel like every time I looked, it was him on the ice taking the puck up, which was pretty crazy about, his, obviously presence on the ice. You know what it's about. He's a threat for sure. And they did a good job in shutting him down because he didn't score. Unfortunately, it was just really a matter of time because you're sitting there, you're watching this game, and yes, Shesterkin did great. There was great defensive plays from our forwards, from our defensemen. But I mean, the Devils are just getting too many chances. And I mean, you sit there, you watch a hockey game, and you literally see like, yeah, great defense, but I mean, that's not sustainable. I mean, they're going to get, if the Devils keep getting these chances, they're going to score, which is exactly what happened. And they scored in some stupid mistakes from the Rangers. I mean, I guess that shorthanded goal by, I think it was McLeod, I guess, had the shorthanded goal when Palat just, I don't even know what, like pickpocketed Fox, just kind of got past him, turned him around, gets the puck off. McLeod just puts it past Shesterkin. It was a one-on-one at that point, right in front of the net, too. Can't really blame Shesterkin for that. If I was him, I probably would have used my stick a little bit. But I mean, none of the goals given up were Shesterkin's fault. That's for sure. It was just broken plays, bodies left in front of the net, unmanned, which again didn't happen a lot. But again, like, the Devils having such offense and such opportunities, it was just a matter of time before they scored. And the Rangers offensively, it just wasn't enough. I mean, they had great opportunities from Trocheck, from Panarin, from Kreider too, but it just was not enough. The hit late by Trouba, that was a great hit. A little, too little, too late. Honestly, dude, you want to start the game off with a hit like that. So it was kind of tough, dude. You looked at some people, Zibanejad was quiet. Again, now looking at the entire series, Zibanejad was quiet for the whole series. Patty Kane, again, looking at just last night, absolutely blowing it, dude. I mean, he had, again, some bits where, the line was working well and they were in the offensive zone. And yeah, he was holding the puck a lot, again, causing a little bit of havoc. But I mean, you look at the whiffs he's had, the stupid turnovers, the lack of defense, some of the poor passes. I mean, he just did not perform the way you wanted him to, especially in the playoffs. I mean, he's supposed to be someone who's, again, you talk about experience, someone who's been here before and knows how to take control of the situation, and make, a game-changing move or something, dude. So, it was super tough because your guys just did not perform as well. Again, I think the defense did a great job in limiting some of what the Devils were showing. I mean, again, we had 20 block shots. With all the chances the Devils had, we limited them to 24 shots, right? So, we did a good job on defense. It was really just where our offense suffered. And just not having an answer, like, for the Devils just to stroll into our own zone. I mean, there was no fight in the neutral zone. It was just Jack Hughes taking it up every single time without being touched. I understand he's fast. I understand he's good. But you got to have an answer for that. Something, you can't let him just control the game like that. Let the Devils set up their offense so easily. And then there was some piss poor attempts at trying to clear pucks. Sometimes they would hold the puck too long and try to make a little move. Just clear it, dude. Power play was, I think, 0 for 2 last night, right?
I think it might have been 0 for 4.
0 for 4
honestly,
last night. Yeah. I think there were 1 for like 18, 1 for the last 18, something like that, 1 for the last 24, something really bad like that. And again, I mean, they had way more opportunities, I think, on 5-on-5, but again, like, power play, you have to take advantage. Giving up a shorthanded goal, and that wasn't the first in the series giving up a shorthanded goal. I mean, it was just absolute piss poor. In my opinion, it seemed like the Rangers they were done, dude. It just seemed like that they weren't skating hard. Yeah, you had some fight in them, but there was just stupid broken plays that just did not make any sense at all. And were big reasons why the Devils end up scoring. It was really stupid in that case. Total disappointment. Again, you think where the Rangers were last season in terms of, making it further than anyone else expected, beating Carolina, beating Pittsburgh. And then the tools that they had, again, like you expect, obviously, a better, kind of outcome this season, especially with the moves that Drury made during the season, picking up certain aspects. I thought Tarasenko did play really well in this series, but you expect to make the cup, dude. Especially, you got the Bruins get knocked out now. Like, it seemed like there was a very clear way to the cup. I understand. And I feel like a lot of people overlook the Devils, honestly, in general. People, I don't think, realize how good the regular season was. Again, just listening to people talk about this series, specifically, I guess, on ESPN really is mostly what I'm looking at. But it just seemed like, the Rangers got all these big names. They're going to win. They weren't the top seed coming into this series, so I just feel like you were literally, and you went up 2-0 to start it off. Like, you're literally just like a quick put it away type of attitude, away from really kind of having a clear road to the cup final and potentially hoisting it, just because of the pool, the level of play that's left. I think, no one's really expecting these teams to move on that did, I mean, mainly, the Kraken, mainly, Florida. So it's really tough to see that too, to see them lose in the first round. Look at what it looks like for the rest of the playoffs. Total toss up now for anyone, which is pretty crazy. But yeah, super, super sour, super sad, dude. Definitely totally hurts watching that game and to see the opportunity kind of slip through your fingers, especially, you mentioned what game 6 looked like. It looked great. I mean, again, I guess you have to nod your head to Schmid. Because his play was pretty high. I mean, you had really big opportunities by Trocheck, by Panarin, even by Zibanejad, like on the power play, a couple good one-timers. Schmid was there, honestly. He was flashing his glove quite confidently. And that was something that I think we had talked about a few games ago, that it seems like he is weak on the glove, and he was. I mean, that's what they took advantage of in game 6. Schmid clearly did some work on his glove side, because he was flashing that baby like pretty impressively. And honestly, I really wouldn't be surprised. You look at how he plays, how he played yesterday. In terms of a goaltender, and I know, Martin Brodeur was at the game last night. I believe they consulted Brodeur too about who to start in game 7. I want to say Schmidt had to sit down with Brodeur, because one thing I think is pretty critical of goaltenders a lot around the league now, is how quickly they go down to the butterfly position. Which, yes, it sets them up nicely to stay square and to cover a lot of the net and to, defend the lower part of the net as well. But one thing it does is that it kind of limits your mobility a little bit, and your reaction, because you're already down in the butterfly. Schmid last night was standing up a lot. A lot of those glove saves you saw was him standing up. So the reason why he was able just to kind of catch the puck is because that rising shot, or whatever shot was at him, was already at the glove level, as opposed to him going down to the butterfly and then trying to reach for it. He was anticipating a glove side focus from the Rangers, just like in game 6. And because of that, he made the adjustment and stood up more against shots, and knew it was coming high midsection glove side, and just stood there and waited for it and caught it. And so, I mean, it was a super, super impressive game by Schmidt. Again, what is he, 21, 22 years old, 2 shutouts against the Rangers. It's a team that can score really well. you got to really tip your hat to him. I mean, again, like, you look at some of those opportunities the Rangers had. It could have been, we could have scored 3 times easily off those opportunities. If it wasn't for him, he played a great game. But yeah, I mean, it is disappointing that the Rangers did not play the best hockey they could play, especially in this big moment for them. Super tough to watch them go down this way. It sucks, dude.
Yeah, and I think there's still a lot to unpack here.
Yes, yeah, a lot to go over still.
And before I kind of say my piece here, let's catch up on the comments.
Yeah, we got a ton of them. So Matthew Gabriel says this should be good. LMAO. Always a bit tough the day after, but at least we have golf, he says.
There
wow.
he goes. There he goes. He knows it. He
letting
knows
him in the
it.
mood. But first says, I'm sorry, New York fans. We took it on the chin yesterday. Schmidt had a great game. He's a human wall. He really did. Unbelievable. Matt Gabriel, 0. Definitely embarrassing. Prefer says Rangers had too many outside shots. Sort of predictable. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, again, I'm all for creating opportunities off the perimeter. You have terrific shooters like Schneider, like Miller, like Fox, who can like rip a nice slap shot. Even Trouba too. We've seen him have some good shots, but it's really more about creating traffic in front of the net. If you're going to shoot those perimeter shots, you need bodies in front of the net to get rebounds, to put it back in front of the net, to get it back out to the point, to have some sustainable offense. And again, like, that's the strategy you need, but it just seemed like a lot of it was shoot. Schmidt makes a save. It gets into one of the Devils' hands, and then it's just going back the other way. You have to like somewhat control the puck after the shot, which they didn't really do. Matt Gabriel says Hughes might be the fastest dude on skates I've ever seen. He does have tremendous explosive speed. Again, it is impressive to watch him play. He says crazy. Matt Gabriel says Panarin, go away. This is by Gallant. I think we'll get into that. And then follows up again. Panarin sucks. But first is hockey last night. More fun to watch than baseball and football games. I totally agree. I mean, it was, even though it was not a great game in terms of a Rangers fan, there were so many great plays, some big hits, some good opportunities from both sides. It was really an exciting game to watch. For me, I was excited. I probably would have had a little more fun if Mike wasn't chirping in my ear, but it was still excited and very excitable game. So, and unless you really hate Clark Schmidt, this was probably what you were watching last night. Jay Bird says
Clark Schmidt.
Oh no, sorry, Clay Holmes rather. Jay Bird says,
you were talking about the goalie for a second.
No. Jay Bird says, who are you rooting for going forward? That's a great question. And he does follow it up with, I'm high on the Kraken right now. Jay,
you think it's just the Kraken or no?
Yeah, dude, I think he's high on something else, Jay. You gotta stay off the drugs, buddy. Honestly, I'm definitely hot for Kraken right now. It's kind of tough, to be honest, dude, because again, coming out of the East, I do really enjoy a lot of the teams. Watching the Panthers be the Bruins, I mean, you got to give them some type of credit. I don't think they have the goaltending to move on, honestly, much further. I guess you could go Kraken. I definitely don't want Edmonton to win, that's for sure. I would like to see the Knights as well. I think one of the new expansion teams. I think the Knights. I'm gonna go Knights just because year one they made it to the Cup final, they fumbled it, and they've been kind of battling back since then, honestly. And I think it's super important too for the league in general for the Golden Knights to be a successful team. So let's go for the Knights, dude. What do you think, Brian?
I don't know. I honestly am not even sure. I guess Edmonton, whatever. But it's just one of those things. I mean, it's not quite like when the Yankees are eliminated, but still, it's like I don't just get all excited about another team. It's not like it's the NFL or like March Madness or something.
Right.
I mean, I'm not.
You're not even riled for the Oilers, though. Come on, dude. Connor McDavid.
Somewhat, but I'm too beaten down.
Yeah.
But back to what we were discussing here with the Rangers. A few things. First of all, with Panarin and Matt, saying that he sucks. I do think that he's overcompensated, and he just disappears for long stretches where you don't really hear from him. I think he had Boomer was talking about this morning. I think he had 2 assists the whole series, and that's it.
Right.
No goals.
Yeah.
So for what they're paying him, that's a complete ripoff. Sure, he's not Aaron Hicks, but at the same time, you're paying him top dollar, step up in the big moments, and he's not. So that might be something that they'll look at to potentially move him. As far as Gallant, I do think he should be fired. And I understand it's a quick trigger. I get it, only 2 seasons in. But how do you not think that a different coach could get more out of this group? I feel like he was handed it all on a silver platter. And it reminded me too much of last year against the Lightning. You're up 2-0 against them, and you have a chance there in game 3 to go up 3-0. You blow it. You don't make any adjustments. And I feel like it's the same thing here. You take away game 6. I mean, what adjustments were made? And I just feel like too, one thing that I really noticed, and I guess this isn't like, the NBA or the NFL where they show time of possession, but if I had to guess, especially in the first period, I mean, what did the Devils have the puck 80% of the time?
Probably
I mean, that was insane and just like embarrassing and something that there's really no answer for. You can't constantly be on your heels defending the puck in their offensive zone. It was like you're just at that point, it was like you were just waiting for them to score. So I just feel like, that was a complete joke. And sure, I could think of a couple people who I know will be there next year, but I do think also there's going to be a lot more turnover than we're expecting. The certainties in my eyes are, obviously Shesterkin, obviously Adam Fox, obviously Chris Kreider. But other than that, I mean, I guess Mika. Mika, even though, this wasn't a good playoff performance by him. So I guess if you kind of want to make those your glue guys and then everybody else up for grabs, but I don't think you could honestly make a case that, any of the other guys, whether it be Panarin or whether it be, Tarasenko or Kane or Hedel or Lafreniere. I don't think you could say that they definitely have to be here for what you know what I mean? It's just like, this is a performer go home business. And I just think you look at the way the last 2 playoffs went. Clearly there wasn't enough star power to get over the hump. And you mentioned the opportunity with the 3-time defending Eastern Conference champions gone, with the best regular season team in the NHL history gone that you couldn't beat this year. They're gone. And it was like one of the easiest paths you're going to get. And you can't even get out of the first round against a rookie goaltender, against an unexperienced team. I think that's unacceptable. And I think the reason why Gallant has to go is he's not the worst coach in the league, but the problem is he's not the coach to get you over the hump. And I think that's very clear, even though we're 2 years in, even though the team's improved from where they were when he took over, but he's not going to be able to get them to the next step. I could tell you that much.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very tricky situation. Again, you talk about blame, and what's going to happen next for the Rangers. I mean, yeah, obviously, coach is on the helm here, at the helm, I should say, in terms of blame, but especially with Gallant's track record, I really don't like the way he handles the media sometimes. But I don't like sometimes the way, he handles changing up lines, changing up the power play unit too constantly, I think was an issue. This series specifically, I mean, the power play was an issue. I mean, again, he's changing it up for better or for worse. Making a change is a good move, at least, I suppose. But I mean, you need results, dude. I mean, the one good thing I can say last night is he put the kid line together somewhere, I want to say around the second period. And they were producing some good shifts with offensive pressure. I like that move by him. But again, I mean, you take a step back and you look at this season. And, what a great job, Chris Drury did in terms of bringing in the necessary talent, I thought, to make this team, you know, run for the cup, dude. Honestly, like to be considered to be like, one of the best teams in the league. Chris Drury did his job. But I mean, like there has to be consequences for having.
Should he come down to the bench
to be the coach?
Yeah.
I would love that, dude. I don't think he would. I feel. I think he enjoys maybe better. Like he more so enjoys being the president and GM of the Rangers. But, I don't know, dude. I mean, again, there just has to be consequences. There has to be someone getting fired because the amount of talent that were on this Rangers team. I mean, for them to lose in the first round, it's criminal almost, dude. There's got to be repercussions. Again, Gallant, I don't think he really did a terrible job, but I mean, again, like someone has to be held accountable. It can't just be same shit next year because it obviously isn't working. And again, you talked about who is staying. Like, yeah, you would imagine Zibanejad, Kreider, Igor. You just re-signed Hedl, right? You got Adam Fox in a big contract. At the end of the day, like, is Trouba on the chopping block? I mean, maybe. I kind of doubt that.
No reason he needs to stay, though.
I guess so.
We've seen nothing to say he's going to be the catalyst of a
Right.
Stanley Cup winning team. Other than what he can lay a little hit. You know what I mean?
It's
like
kind of a big hit, Brian.
No, but honestly, and one thing too, and not to get argumentative here, but like, I don't know. I feel like you were kind of saying like there was some good stuff, offense. I honestly think other than Shesterkin's play, there was not one good thing that the Rangers did last night. I'm sorry. Like, this is a results business. There were no results, and they couldn't even have the puck in the offensive zone, and they're taking soft shots. I mean, what is good about that?
Well, I mean, I think that there were shots that weren't soft shots.
But what was I don't know. If it doesn't go in, is it good? Like, I don't know.
I mean, of course, I mean, again, you look at it again from a wider lens here. I mean, yeah, they had great opportunities.
Yeah, but they
against other goaltenders. I mean, if Vitek Vanacek is starting that game, I mean, they're getting pucks past him. I understand, like, yes, like that. There's still nothing good because it's still like, well, you have to figure out a way to get past Schmid, obviously. But they had good opportunities. It wasn't like their offense there was nothing going at all. Like there was fight, there was drive. It's not like they just kind of rolled over and died, like.
But I just feel like if there's drive, if there's fight, they're gonna not be scoreless through 2 periods and then end up losing 4-0. They're gonna find a way. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but that was the issue. They did not find a way.
Yeah. So I just think, that's pathetic.
Right.
In my eyes.
No, I totally agree. And I think, in terms of who's staying and stuff, I mean, I think a lot's up in the air. Like I said, there has to be some type of repercussion. I mean, you're not going to have a lot of these guys. I would imagine you're not going to be signing Kane. You're probably not going to be signing Tarasenko.
And I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse here, even though we haven't talked about it in a while, but do we need Trocheck's bloated salary? I mean, I don't know.
I enjoy Trocheck a lot, dude. Again, he was one thing I thought was good yesterday. He was good on back checking. He had some good defensive plays as a forward. He had good opportunities, as a center too. He's someone who I like because he does play kind of gritty. He's not afraid to get physical. And I don't know. I just think it's tough to kind of nitpick right now because, like, everyone sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it wasn't
other than Shesterkin,
right? But like literally, I mean, everyone did not do their job. Like, as far as I'm considered on the team, like no one did. Like this,
Fox had a terrible game. The penalty,
like it was just nothing.
Nothing
was good. Yeah, allowing the goal. I think Kreider was on the ice for all 4 goals too. I mean, like nothing was good. Like. No one was good. You had stupid passes, poor passes. Again, like there was a sense of panic on the team, lack of leadership, again, like, why are you guys panicking when you're the veteran team? Like, that's the whole idea behind being the veteran team is like, you don't panic. You've been here before. You can come back. But there was panic. You saw it in the stretch passes they were trying to do and ultimately turn the puck over. So nothing was good. They were not led well. They didn't play offense well. They were playing defense too much. So I think it's kind of hard to say, like, I mean, obviously you're not going to be like, get rid of everyone. You can't do that. You honestly, like, I mean, in hindsight, you really don't want to get rid of many, I feel, because of how great the regular season went. It's a really tough situation. But then, like I'm saying, on the other hand, like to have this pool of talent assembled, to go into the playoffs like you did, and to lose, I mean, there has to be. I mean, that like this season, it's the type of season that's going to be like rippling through Rangers fans' heads like for years to come. You know, like because it was like this close to having the cup in sight, really. You know, so it really sucks, and there has to be something. You know, I mean, again, you're looking at getting rid of possibly Kako, possibly Lafreniere, 2 first-round picks for overall picks.
Better to just get while they have some type of value. Somebody sees something, because I'm telling you, they're not going to be stars. No, they're not.
Right. They're probably not. They might be somewhere else, which is fine. But it's also like, I mean, is it work? I mean, what do you
just
need
as part of a package? That's what
you need to replace them with someone who is good now, but at the same time is also kind of youthful. You can't give up 2 youthful overall picks, top overall picks for like a Patrick Kane or something. That's not going to bode well for you. Your window for we need bodies to win right now has certainly dwindled down. Okay. Like you have to think about again, like Chris Drury did a great job trade deadline to think about pushing for the cup now. Did not work. You kind of have to like settle back a little bit and think now, I guess, in terms of a longer term. Youth is obviously a part of that. So I don't know. I think it's a super tough decisions coming up. Super tough offseason for sure for the Rangers in terms of who's going where, who's your head coach going to be really.
I'm telling you, getting rid of Trocheck for the cap the cap is too tight as it is.
Yeah, but like who are you replacing with Trocheck? Like who are you replacing him with? That's going to be not as much money, but also as good. Like it's not.
And getting rid of Panarin, I mean, that'll open up a lot of space.
I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know I understand like he didn't show up in the playoffs. No one else did, but the guy did still lead the team in points. Like, yeah, he's not scoring goals.
But are those points though against the Ducks and in the Coyotes?
It's points all season, Brian. He had like over 100 points, dude. Like, it's not like he's scoring 10 points against the Ducks and then none against anyone else.
But don't you think there's something to be said about good, but not good enough? And I think that applies to him.
I don't know. I think personally, he was line mates with Mika Zibanejad, and he was just teaming up Zibanejad all year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was always that. It was always Zibanejad goal, Panarin the primary assist, Fox secondary, whoever.
Where was it this series? Why couldn't he do it?
Nothing was good this series. Why couldn't Zibanejad score at all, dude? Like
he had one.
He had one, dude. It's
why couldn't Panarin score at all?
Yeah. I'm just saying, like nothing was. It's kind of hard to be like, oh, we'll get rid of Panarin, replace him, and it'll be better. Because again, like, what are you like? Are you going to have someone who theoretically is better than Panarin? Like,
all I'm saying
I don't know, dude.
I think the closest you could get to the studs in this situation as possible, the better. I really do. With a new coach, it's the same thing. Good,
right,
but not good enough. You're not going to win a cup with Gallant. Why has he been fired 3 times or whatever it is?
Right. No, I agree with Gallant. I mean, I think he should be on the hot seat. If anyone, like I said, he's at the helm. Someone needs to be responsible. There needs to be a movement, if any. And I would be hesitant to move many players.
And you don't think I know you always think I'm kidding when I say this, but in all seriousness,
Barry Trotz.
Yeah, like just straight militarian style and just win the cup and that's it.
Militarian, dude. I mean, listen, I'm all for that. He's hoisted the cup before, but again, I mean, you look at someone like him, who got booted from the Capitals right after he got the cup, who got booted from the Islanders right after making the Eastern Conference Finals. Why? Like that's also it's almost like a Gallant 2.0 situation.
Well, except that he's actually been there.
Except that he's been there exactly, but
done that.
Still kind of odd, and he hasn't been hired. No one's taken him.
No, he's the Nashville general manager. I don't know, for whatever reason they hired him in advance. In July specifically, he's taking over. That's what it says. I don't know why.
It's kind of weird.
But I think he wants to be on the ice. I don't know.
I would prefer probably, but I would imagine he does. But no one wanted him on the ice.
Yeah, but it's tough too because I mean I don't know. It just hockey coaches are tough because I feel like unlike football, basketball, even baseball to an extent, there's not as many veteran guys with a track record just hanging around.
Right.
You have to like go to assistants and stuff. And I don't know. does that? I don't feel like that doesn't work as much versus the other leagues
to bring an assistant
and
in?
then they take you to the next level. I mean,
yeah. I mean,
it's a
again, I
tough-
mean, you're looking at a lot of the coaches around. I mean, I can't really name you many like
give John
young
Cooper
coaches.
a king's ransom.
Yeah, I know. Like,
Can you trade for a coach in the NHL or no?
I've never seen it. I would imagine you could. Sure, why? I mean, in theory, you could trade for anything,
or
right?
St. Louis. I mean, is that the guy? I know he hasn't got any results, or maybe he even gets canned.
I mean, dude, I don't think he'll get canned from Canada, dude. I don't know. I don't know what he wants to do. I mean, obviously, the man wants to coach. I just feel like he's coaching because it's something like he enjoys. He enjoys the game.
Jay wants to see Mika do the Snoopy dance. Like, why?
Mike do the Snoopy dance.
Oh,
Because Prefer said Devils winning.
yeah,
Did he
yeah.
manage Mike?
Okay.
Do the Snoopy dance.
I was so confused about that comment from Jay. I was gonna say prefer with the hashish almost.
No, yeah. Jay with the hashish, dude.
But yeah, so obviously it's tough. It's a long off season, like you said, and we'll track the storylines as we can. Just quickly, Tony, before we switch here, 2 games tonight.
Let's talk about
Florida, Toronto, Seattle, Dallas. First with Florida, Toronto.
Wow,
Obviously, 2 teams that weren't expected to be here.
Right.
So is this Toronto's time? I mean, we've talked about how long it took them to get here, but just they are at home tonight. So just if you would, prediction for tonight and prediction for the series.
For Florida, Toronto first, you're saying?
Yeah.
I mean, again, Toronto's time, you're so hesitant to think about that because they the first time they made past the first round since like 03, 04, something like that.
I think Bucks a couple years ago.
Yeah. I will say, I mean, again, having the Bruins knocked out, playing Florida instead, huge. Florida, sure, momentum game in their favor. They play physical. They dealt with the Bruins' speed quite nicely. I mean, Toronto, again, I mean, just like Boston, I mean, it's so tough to be like, oh, Toronto's a better team. Like, how could Florida win when we just spoke about that with Boston and here Florida is beat Boston. But I mean, again, and they beat Boston like 3 games in a row, dude. Twice at home. Like, I think people haven't really talked about that, the twice at home thing. But yes, I mean, the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm sure will have, more rested legs because they took care of Tampa Bay. They certainly have better goaltending. When you think of Bobrovsky, he's really not a great goaltender. I mean, yes, obviously he's good. He's professional level. He's like it's Stanley Cup playoffs level. But again, you just think of like Samsonov or Murray. Toronto has him there. Toronto has him beat pound for pound in terms of the team and everything. One thing Toronto can't do is just let Florida hang around like Boston did. Florida's come at you. I would be interested to see how Florida's pace of play is after playing the Bruins, after beating them in 7, to see if they can keep up that, pesky physicality and stuff like that they did against Boston. But the way I'm seeing tonight come out is Toronto, legs are rested. Nylander, Marner, Bunting, Tavares, who's been such a huge role so far in the playoffs. And then, of course, we know about Matthews as well. Again, pound for pound, Toronto's a better team. I say they win this game pretty decisively 5-1. Series goes to Toronto in 6.
Wow. I'm going to say Toronto in 5. I'm going to say 5-0 tonight. And I think the Stars are coming out tonight. And also, I just think this sets up perfectly for a star-studded Stanley Cup final. Toronto, Edmonton. You think about all the big names there, and what exciting that would be. How exciting that would be.
I'd be interested to see the last time it was 2 Canadian teams.
Yeah, that is an interesting point. But yeah, I think they're just going to be too much for Florida. I think Florida is beaten down from that series with the Bruins.
1986, Calgary and Montreal.
So 1986, now 2023, the all-Canadian final, Tony. So that's what I'm seeing. I'm expecting to see Matthews and Bunting and Marner and Tavares all star out the way that we know they can. A good series from Samsonov as well. Out west, Seattle at Dallas tonight. It's interesting, Jay riding the Kraken train here.
I like it.
And I kind of like it too, because me, I haven't been a star guy. So you think about like the changing of the guard and new teams stepping up. let's say Seattle in 7, including a game 1 victory tonight, 2-1. Grubauer, 47 saves.
I'm going to say Dallas takes it tonight, honestly. I think they take the series, too. As much as I would love to be hot on Seattle, I think as of right now, Odinger's the best goaltender left in the playoffs. And, you get Robertson. Again, Tyler Seguin is good, too. I don't know. I just think I would love to see Seattle work well. They did great. Again, another team, just like Florida, did well against, their mismatched opponent here. But I don't think it lasts long. I think they get tired. Give me Dallas. Youthful. Goaltending. Let's go. In 6.
And give me the world of Major League Baseball.
It's deep to left. It's 700. Albert Pujols.
Yeah, what a play! Stop it, Tony. Yep. And Alonso cracks one of the Mets win the ball game. Out of sight.
And it works at 100 miles an hour. 14 strikeout.
Drove deep to left field. There it goes. See ya.
All right. So another tough one last night. And before we even got started, and I wasn't so bent out of shape about this just because, like we had talked about, we don't want anything lingering with Aaron Judge. They did make the move to place him on the injured list. So I think it's like the next 4 games, he'll be out, starting today. So that was tough. So you're without Stanton, you're without Judge, you're without 3/5 of your rotation, you're without 3-4 relievers. Bader should be back and part of this week, so at least there's that to look forward to. But I was thinking, Quantrill's on the mound. We've hit him before. This is a good spot for the offense to wake up. Decent night weather-wise in the Bronx. Maybe we could poke, a couple out here. Got off to a good start. You look at it. You had a Trevino homer in the 3rd inning to get the scoring going. Herman was obviously locked in. And then LeMahieu singling in Rizzo there, a little hit and run. Couldn't get Glaber in, so it stayed at 2-0. But then here we go again. You get some good offense, and then that's it. It just dies. It doesn't pick up again, and that's what we saw for the rest of the game. I mean, the Yankees this game had 6 hits, no runs after the 3rd inning. Only had 2 times that they had runners in scoring position the entire game. So it was a lot of just dead innings. And no matter what happened at the end of the game that we'll get to in a second, offensively, and like I said, I know you're missing a third of your starting lineup. I understand it, but at the same time, I don't understand the results because if you can't produce something, even if it's at a lesser level, without these guys, then you don't deserve to be there in the first place. And I think, that's so evident now. You go up and down this lineup, 0 for 3, 0 for 3, 1 for 3, 0 for 3, 0 for 3, 1 for 4, at 1 for 4. It just, you can't go through the list and say that and then look at your averages and they're 219, 274, 245, 261, 220, 156, 188, 189, 193. This isn't a spring training game. So there's guys that are playing that shouldn't be playing. And for a team, I understand, like I said, there's injuries, but Willie Calhoun can't be your 5th hitter on a team that is supposed to win a championship. IKF, with his 189 average, can't be starting in center field. So, it doesn't matter who it is, but somebody else has to pick up and do these jobs that these guys clearly aren't doing. And it's a complete indictment on general manager Brian Cashman. Like, why do the Braves, the Rays, the Dodgers, why do they not have these similar problems when they have injuries? And the whole reason is because they have better depth. We have no depth. We have over $100 million on the injured list. So, clearly funds are not being allocated in the right places. I mean, I think it's just so evident So, I mean, let's go. I mean, enough of this. I mean, we're all sick of it. And it's like, once again, the Geno video from a couple years ago, Tony, applies again. And here we are years later. And it's the same conversation about accountability, about switching things up. And, and here we are. And I think the only difference is now is, guys like LeMayu and Cabrera, they need to be better. Torres, same thing. It's like you're here, you have an opportunity. We need you to step up more so than if we had a full lineup, but you're not doing it, and you need to find a way, and there's no excuse for it. So that's what's just so frustrating. And then the fact too, you had such a good feel because Domingo Herman was almost unhittable for this entire game, pitched into the ninth inning. And I'm sure on the radio broadcast, Sterling had a comment to say about this. But he gets one out in the ninth, then allows a single to Stephen Kwan, and then up. Let's go bring in Clay Holmes, who has like a 5 ERA since last summer. But yeah, let's bring him in, even though you've allowed 2 hits and no runs the whole game. So let's let him labor through it. So
if you had a better pitcher to come in, would you have pulled Herman though?
No, he's
definitely
allowed 2 hits. Okay. 2 hits over the course of it. What are we pulling him from? What disaster? What disaster is around the corner? The guy just gave up his second hit in the ninth inning.
No, yeah, I think you're totally right.
And he's under 90 pitches.
No, yeah, the under 90. I think he's at 88 or something, right? But I mean, you see it a lot too. Pitchers going deep into games that are close to, they do pull him like right away after giving up a hit. But I do agree. Like, I just want to see if you thought if Clay Holmes was on fire,
under 90 pitches is ridiculous. Give him a chance to get the next guy. And I understand, Holmes comes in, he gets a grounder. Of course, he doesn't feel it right, but hey, that's his. We talk about accountability. I mean, that's his job to field his position. He doesn't field it, so here we go. Disaster follows Clay Holmes wherever he goes. Then he gets behind against Ramirez. So after he fell behind to Rosario, he gets behind to Jose Ramirez, who's a good pitcher. So it's like you got to know it's Jose Ramirez. He's won an MVP before. You have to get ahead in the count. You can't give him the advantage, and he did. And then he fell behind 2-0. He lets up a single. So that loads the bases, and then it's like, you have Josh Naylor up, and you just have to do a better job. And I know, it technically was a ground ball, but it's like, you just have to make sure, in that situation that you don't have any wiggle room and that a hit is going to score 2 runs. And that's exactly what happens. And then Wandy comes in, who's done, a pretty good job this year. But here we go again with the strikes. Walks Brandon Belt. He does get Jimenez to strike out on the changeup, but then Mike Zunino's up. I mean, who's done absolutely nothing, is like a career 200 hitter. And once again,
0 for 3 last night too.
Behind with him. It's 3-1. Then it's 3-2. Then he fouls off like 4 pitches in a row. And he misses with a change, and he was all animated about it. But facts are facts. It was out of the strike zone. And also, when it's 3-2, and when the guy knows he can walk in the winning run, at least if you're going to throw something that might not 100% fall in the strike zone, you got to throw it over the middle of the plate. But to come inside there, you know what I mean? You're alarming him off the bat. Oh, this one probably isn't going to be a strike. He holds up. He walks in the run. And then, of course, as you can imagine, a completely lifeless performance in the bottom of the ninth against Emmanuel Clase, one of the better closers in the game. He induces a Torres ground out, a LeMayu ground out. So the weak contact, the soft ground balls. And then, of course, Aaron Hicks is up and Clase is throwing 98. You think he's hitting anything? Of course he's not. And that was it. And that was it. And that was the 4th straight loss. And that was the 8th loss in the last 11 games. And this is the pinnacle of disappointment, of poor execution, and just of a terrible feeling. And just to think over 30 games how the narrative has changed, how the injuries have piled up, how the poor performances have piled up, as the poor offensive performances have piled up, and just that we have to sit here now and have this discussion once again. It couldn't be any more discouraging. It really couldn't. And like I said, I know Bader's around the corner. I know Judge isn't going to miss that much time. But the other guys need to do something. And if they're not going to do something, they need to go. And, and it's like one thing that I have to say, and I'm kind of calling out my guy here and a guy that you like as well. But like, as many times as we have seen LeMahieu have good games and do good things, we've been waiting for a few years now for him to return to that level that we saw a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And it's always 260, 250, ground outs, more strikeouts. So it's like, it kind of seems like that guy's not going to come back, as he gets older by the year. So he's the guy that needs to be held accountable. And the same thing with Glaber. They're not getting it done. And I know Rizzo had the tough start, but like, a game like this, where was he? Oswaldo Cabrera, I love him. I love the energy. I love the versatility. I love the youth. Where are you? You know what I mean? So it's like everybody's not doing their job. I think that's what's tough is like, of course, the poor job that Cashman did in building this team, that's to blame. But at the same time, the players have to do their job. The guys that you actually are counting on, not Willie Calhoun and Franchi Cordero and Jake Bowers, not those guys, not Kyle Higashioka, but the guys that are in the starting lineup and with a full team would be in the lineup. Those are the guys that you need to produce, and they're not doing it. And like I said, I think you need some type of surge put into these guys, and I think it has to start with the hitting coach or with Hicks, and they might as well just start with Hicks. I mean, what is the dog and pony show that we're doing now? I mean, there's just no way that he's gonna make it the whole season on the roster. It's just like, what are you waiting for? I really think that Cashman is that senile that he thinks that there's like he's gonna like come out of this. Like it's like we're 5 years into it. I don't think he's coming out of it.
Yeah, I don't think get rid of him, dude. What's the hesitancy?
Oh, it's a mistake. I don't want to make mistakes. I believe in Aaron Hicks. He's got a good eye at the plate.
But you are making a mistake. You're making a mistake right now saying that. Like that's the mistake.
Yeah, that is a mistake, Tony. So do
you think they will though? Honestly.
Yeah, but it's like I think it could still be another month, and it's so
For what reason?
Ridiculous. I mean, the only thing, maybe they do it for when Bader comes back, but of course, I'm sure Franchi will be optioned back down or Jake Bowers. You know what I mean? They're going to use that, but it's just really because they can. That's the reason, Tony. It's nothing to do with the on the field performance. It's defending bad move after bad move. And my mom makes a good point. Bring up the minor league players. I don't care who it is. And even the ones I don't know, let's get them here. Let's do something. It's like Gallant with the adjustments, you just have to do it. So, I mean, I just am definitely at the tip of the iceberg over here, Tony. And it's so tough not to let it bother you, to just say it's a long season. They're going to be okay. Because it's me, it's Matt, it's my entire family. It's like, with the Yankees are a big deal to us. And, we're not going to just see them embarrass themselves every night and just be like, oh, whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, we want what we want. We deserve what we want. And it's really time to just grab this and turn it around right now before it gets out of control, before it gets to places that I've never seen before. Bless you. And I really hope that we don't get to that point, because it's not a good feeling now. And I can only imagine how it would be then. So just gotta hope having Garrett Cole on the mound today, that can energize the team. I mean, he's going to bring it. He's the one guy that you can count on right now. But no matter what he does, and we saw this out of Herman, if you can't score, you know what I mean? You could basically, bless you, throw anything short of a perfect game and you might lose.
Yeah, I mean, you're totally right. And I don't know, man. I mean, how much, again, you mentioned Garrett Cole, right? You have all the confidence in the world in him, but the rest of your pitching, I think, is in a little bit of trouble, it seems. I mean, Nestor's
going to be fine.
He'll probably will be fine.
And
but
Herman just pitched to Jim. Brito actually was okay last time out.
You're happy with Brito?
Yes. Obviously, we know about Schmidt.
Right. But honestly, like Herman, though, do you expect? I mean, obviously.
Well, you think about the other performance he had a couple weeks ago, too.
Yeah, I guess pretty solid.
So fine there. Severino, they're saying only 2 to 3 weeks. And then Rodon, hopefully 4 to 6. Which it's crazy that we're still talking 4 to 6, but I mean, it's like I'm not worried about the pitching because, like I said, I think that'll take care of itself once the offense picks them up. But the offense has to pick them up. The offense has to pick them up, and they're just not doing it right now. And it's gut wrenching. And you just hope today is the start of it. And like I said, I just think seeing players held accountable, seeing coaches held accountable, it's a good place to start.
Yeah. Boone?
Boone is the same conversation, though, since we've started this show.
Right.
It's like, of course, yeah, that would really light a fire under the team. And I would love to see what Carlos Mendoza could do with this team. But we know that's not going to happen. It's more likely in 2 years, Boone gets another contract extension after they don't do anything. That's more likely than Boone getting let go. They're just set on this marriage between him and Cashman. I mean, it's really, really ridiculous.
It's kind of pathetic at this point.
It is pathetic. Yeah.
When you saw them both speaking, were they like really like buddy? What was their dynamic? What did it seem like?
Yeah, more business-like, honestly.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, not to say that there's issues between the two, but I just think it's not like they're chilling,
Right. Did it seem like maybe they were nervous about their jobs?
No. that seemed like the last thing. And then, like I said, we got I think it's Brandon Steiner talking about Cashman in the Hall of Fame.
Oh.
And I think we gotta go to Matthew here.
Oh, yes. He says, hey, Booney, go home to Greenwich, fuck off, get married, and then get a divorce. You like that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was a...
Does he live in Greenwich?
I think so. I know Cashman lives in Rowayton. That's where he relocated after his divorce.
Oh, wait, actually?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Dude.
I guess he was like pretty, like almost like the Tiger Woods of general managers, supposedly.
Like he was ordering some ladies?
Oh yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What an idiot. Dude.
I know.
Right, you don't hear about that.
No, you don't. But so tonight, 7:05, like I mentioned, Garrett Cole, who's been great. So they'll need every ounce of him they could get because they're only going to score 1 or 2 runs the way it's been going. Going up against Tanner Beebe, which is kind of an interesting name, a guy I'm not familiar with, 24 years old. And it looks like, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, he's only had 1 start and he went 5 2/3. 8 strikeouts and 1 earned run. So I mean, that's a pretty good line right there. So he'll look to build against that, and that was against the Rockies. So you would think normally this would be a lot tougher task, but really at this point, I mean, is it like do the Rockies have a better lineup? I mean, I couldn't name anybody besides Chris Bryant, but I'm sure they're scoring more than 1 run a game.
Are they? Anyone? No,
I would think so. And before we talk about the Mets splitting the Sixers, I guess my mom is asking you about the training staff, if I'm not mistaken.
What's the deal with the trainers? Every year players are on the IL, I'm assuming.
And I think this falls because I don't know, at this point, maybe it was 3 or 4 years ago, but they completely rehauled the training staff. And it's like, I think it comes to a point sometimes where it's like, you could have the premium training staff, but some of it has to fall on the guys and what they're doing. And, I don't think it's a coincidence that a lot of the guys that do get hurt they're not in their early 20s, they're
Right.
mid-20s, they're in their early 30s to mid-30s to late 30s. So I think it's age more than anything, more than staff.
Yeah, and I think
regarding
it's I don't know, it's a very interesting relationship with trainers. You know, just obviously my experience being a college athlete, you know, obviously we had our own trainer and everything, but you know, a trainer, you know, if you go to a trainer with an ailment, the trainer may be like, oh, like it's just this or whatever. You know, you'll still be fine to play. You know, athletes are like, no, it bothers me, I'm not playing, sort of deal, you know. So it could be like the athlete being like, no, like this is really bothering me, I don't want to play on it, sort of deal. I don't know. Again, if your mom is complaining that there's like a tentativeness
no,
from the
it's
trainers,
it's just
or
general wear and tear.
yeah.
Wow,
Michael said, "Get divorced like Gallant from the Rangers." Smiley face.
Hey, I mean, it's not a bad idea, even though he's chirping. He is right though.
I think you would have got a little angry at him last night with his chirping, dude.
Oh yeah,
it was all game. Matt was getting pretty tight, dude.
Really?
Yeah,
like they
dude,
almost had like a wrestling match.
No, nothing like that. But you know, a couple of times Matt was giving me some side eye. Just like
it's funny. I don't think I would have gotten that tight anyway. But if it was something regarding the Yankees, then I think it would.
We put the Yankees on in the bottom of the ninth inning. So
yeah, I had both of them on, and then I was focused on the Yankees once it got close, and then so that was that to that. So it was a great night of sports watching for me.
Yeah, that was brutal, dude.
Yeah. So that's that. What happened to the Mets yesterday, Tony?
All right, let's get to the Mets here. As Brian said, alluded to, they split the Sixers yesterday in their doubleheader. You know, the makeup game, the rain didn't play all weekend since Friday. Shouldn't even played Friday. The whole shebang, dude. So they played 2 games yesterday, a 4:10 and 8 o'clock. You're looking at, you know, the 4:10 game now. Excuse me, the allergies today. It's just been absolutely brutal, dude. But pitching matchup, you know, again, you looked at, we talked about it yesterday, in terms of Reyes and Strider, and you're just thinking to yourself, like, all right, like, let's just get through game 1. Maybe we can sneak one by Strider. They can hit upon him and do some damage maybe early on. You know, you would expect Reyes to kind of give up some runs, and that's exactly what he did. You know, you're looking at Reyes, for example, you know, his final line, he pitched 1 inning, Brian. Give up 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 2 home runs, walked a player, 1 strikeout through 32 pitches. What did those runs look like? Well, it looked pretty bad. You know, giving up, I think he had like a back-to-back singles, Acuna, Olsen, Sean Murphy gets to the plate here. Hits an absolute dinger for a 3-run homer, top of the first. And just like that, you know, there was really nothing good from the get-go. Sean Murphy, I think, ended up having 2 dingers in the first game. I guess, you know, I don't know if it's, we know Sean Murphy. We talked about him last season not being that great. Whatever, dude. Maybe just being with the Braves organization has kind of heightened his play, but you know, you're not happy about that. You know, you're down 3-0 early. Then bottom of the first, you know, Lindor gets a nice single. After the Mets string along some good hits, you know, make it 3-1, and you're thinking like, all right, we said maybe we can hit up on Strider a little bit. We have before in the past. Let's keep it going, dude. Let's get some offense going. You know, it's 3-1. It's nothing crazy. Second inning, Pilar, 2-run homer, 376 feet to left field here. Just like that, 5-1. Next batter up, Acuna, homered, 6-1. So you're thinking like at this point, dude, you know, seems kind of like a stretch here. You know, 6-1 early. You know, it's just it wasn't great. But bottom of the third here, Alonso with a 3-run dinger with Marte and Lindor, you know, on the bags, makes it a 6-4 game. No scoring after that. Brett Beatty, bottom of the 6th, gets a dinger, makes it a 6-5 game. And then now, like at this point, you know, obviously people are riled. You're coming back here. Top of the 7th, Murphy hits another 3-run dinger, making it 9-5. Vogelback gets an RBI single, I believe, making it 2 RBI single, making it 9-7. And then Escobar homers in the bottom of the ninth, making it 9-8. But ultimately, the Braves close it out there in the ninth. Had to go through a lot of their bullpen. Strider didn't last long. 5 innings, 4 earned runs. I think you hit up on him as much as you could. So I kind of like that. Braves ended up winning this game 9-8. But again, like, you look at the way the scoring was. You look at how the Mets came back, specifically in this occasion where it's going to be a doubleheader. You'll love how the Mets hung in there. You had some great hits. Beatty looked great. Again, Alonso, a lot of your bats showed up, right?
It's fun when you score runs.
It is a lot of fun when you score runs. Even if you lost, it still is fun because, again, you expected Reyes not to have a great game. Brigham didn't throw a great game either, but you use up a lot of your bullpen with Reyes. You expect more than 1 inning out of him, but you threw Curtis in there for two innings of just 1 earned run ball there. Nogasek 2 2/3, giving up no runs, only 1 hit. Again, Brigham got into some trouble, giving up 3 runs there. We know Sean Murphy, whatever. And then Tommy Hunter, 2 innings, 4 strikeouts. A big reason why the Mets kind of hung in there. Ultimately, obviously, still a gut-wrenching loss because you came back heavily. But again, talk about taking momentum going into the second game. You kind of still like to see that, because if it was a blowout first game, you can only imagine, the mentality of the Mets. So game 2 here, you're thinking it's something a little different here. You got momentum going on. Charlie Morton, the old buck for the Braves on the mound against Tyler McGill. You've seen him, have some bright spots. Mets do win game 2 here, 5-3. Again, you love the momentum from the first game. How they scored, I'll walk you through it. Mets started scoring early, bottom of the second, again, taking that game just right to the next game here. Vogelback, had a couple good at bats here. He had an RBI double to put the Mets up 1-0. After that, Charlie Morton kind of settled down, and McGill was throwing well as well. But bottom of the 5th, Marte RBI single, making it 2-0 for the Mets. Top of the 6th, Rosario had a 2 RBI double, making it 3-2. Bottom of the 6th, Alvarez with an RBI double to left field. Vogelback ended up scoring, making it 4-3 there now in favor of the Mets. And then McNeil homer in the 8th, putting a little nail in the coffin. They're making it 5-3. Mets have a great bullpen. Go out of the game. David Robertson, dude, pitched the last 2 innings of the game, 4 strikeouts. Let's fucking go, dude. Honestly, what a guy is, right? Drew Smith was even in there for an inning and a third with 2 Ks. McGill's final line, 5 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 Ks. Struggled a little bit, with the location. Got in trouble there in the 6th too. But put the Mets in a good enough position for them to kind of close this game out. Splitting the doubleheader, you'll have to see that. I mentioned Vogelback, was 1 for 3 in both games, contributing to scoring, which is good. But still, in my eyes, significant hole at the DH spot. Brett Beatty went really well. I had some stats actually on Beatty and Alvarez. Last 7 games, Beatty averaging 409 with a 1.23 OPS, 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 4 RBIs. Alvarez over the last 7 games batting 353, a 977 OPS with a dinger, a double, and 3 RBIs. So, your young guys bringing in some significant offense in the last 7 games here, batting pretty well in the past week. You love to see that. And again, I think with the hole at third base with Escobar, who's been seemingly a liability now, even defensively. And then, of course, the lack of offense from the catching position. Even Buck said Alvarez is doing great defensively as a catcher, catching pitchers, which is great. You look at, obviously, like many teams, the Mets have a team built around the rotation. It's unfortunate that they've only thrown, I think, 19 pitches out of their two aces, right? That does change as we move on to Detroit because Scherzer's coming back, and so is Verlander. I think Scherzer and Verlander are pitching games 2 and 3 of this series, which starts today. But again, a team that has players revolved around their starting rotation that have tough pitchers to catch too, between Senga and Verlander and Scherzer. I think Alvarez looking good behind the plate is even more important and could contribute well to more production offensively. So you'll have to see that from the young guys. Expect to have that turnaround. You're playing the Tigers tonight here. You're split the 6s on the doubleheader with the Braves, which is the most you can ask for now. So you'll have to see that. Let's move on to Detroit. We'll have better pitching, offense, keep it going. I mean, you're looking for a sweep against Detroit, you know? I mean, it's a disappointing weekend with the weird game on Friday that only lasted 5 innings, the rain delays, putting double headers, what you want with the Braves. Now it's move that momentum onto Detroit, and let's get something, decisive going. We got to look good for the division here, man. I mean, Bryce Harper's back for the Phillies. You expect him to make more of a splash. The Braves are going to be cooking. You don't want to fall behind early in a division like this, especially now. Let's take advantage of having Scherzer and Verlander back. It's Detroit. Let's go, dude.
What's the prediction for today?
I would say for today, again, I think it's Lucchesi today on the mound, and then Scherzer tomorrow. Verlander
versus Lorenzen.
I mean, you've seen good stuff from Lorenzen. Right now, his ERA is a 7.07 on the season. Over 14 innings pitched. You know about Lucchesi in his last couple starts. Obviously 2 starts ago being the strongest. Then you had 5 innings and a third given with 3 earned runs. I think against the Nationals. But here against Detroit, I mean, you want something that's like 6 innings, 1 earned run. That's what you're looking at from him. That's what you can expect from him, honestly, too. I don't care about strikeouts, right? He had 9, I think, in his 7 innings. And again, against Lorenzen here, look at his last few starts. 5 innings against Milwaukee, giving up 5 earned runs. San Francisco, 4 innings, giving up 6 earned runs. Very hittable. He gave up 4 home runs. He gave up 3 home runs in those 2 starts right there, too. So very hittable with the hot bats. Let's see Alvarez with another dinger tonight. Beatty, keep it going. Lindor, keep it going. I think it's so important for these, specifically for Alvarez and Beatty. And even McNeil, if he gets going with the long ball, I mean, you're looking at a lineup that after Alonso really does not have a big bat. Again, good hitters, but you don't have that power bat still. If you can find it in either Alvarez or Beatty right now, that would be great. You look towards Alvarez, obviously. I think it's going to be a big series against him. Give me the Mets tonight as one of my picks for sure. Lucchesi with a gem. Detroit falls flat. Mets win 5-1.
And before I get my pick, we have some breaking news. The Yankees have activated Harrison Bader from the injured list and optioned Franchi Cordero to AAA. So Bader, returning to the Yankees a couple days earlier than expected, and seems like perfect timing that he can deliver them the shot in the arm that they need. But we all love Bader. We all fell in love in the playoffs last year. The 5 home runs through the American League Championship Series. A guy that is fired up. And I look forward to seeing him roaming center field. And I wouldn't be surprised, too, if they experiment maybe with him and Volpe at the top of the lineup. You could flip-flop those guys. You love what he brings offensively and defensively. But specifically offensively, I'm expecting him to take that step forward that we haven't really seen from him before. He's been kind of a mediocre offensive player, but we saw his skills highlighted in the postseason, and I think that carries on. And this is the whole something different, something new. I know obviously he's been on the team since last year, but the fact that he's going to be in the lineup, I think it just completely changes everything. And sure, it's not Babe Ruth coming into this lineup, but at the same time, the way that they've been hitting, it almost is. Especially if he hits anything close to how he did in the postseason. And one other thing I saw on Twitter here, I guess this is from 4 Trained Savages, and kind of speaks to what I was just saying about Cashman. So he goes, just an example of the Yankee sports spending. They're paying IKF $6 million. He's hitting 189 with a 232 on base percentage and a 421 OPS. Matt Carpenter is making $6.5 million on the Padres, is hitting 255, a 377 on base percentage, and a 904 OPS. Perfect example of, we knew going into this year, the move was to non-tender IKF. Right. It didn't make sense unless you were going to trade him. I don't even know if they tried to trade him. But that's just a perfect example. Just wanted to get that piece in there. I thought it was a good analogy. But in terms of tonight, Bader, the spark plug. I'm not kidding, Tony. He's going to get a curtain call after he homers first pitch from the return from the injured list. And that is going to catapult the Yankees here. Nothing crazy, but I'm going to say a 4-0 shutout of the Guardians. Garrett Cole, complete game, 13 strikeouts, yelling after every inning that he's jacked up, that he's ready to go, that nobody is stopping him. And that shot in the arm between him and Bader gets the Yankees going in the right direction, something we've all been yearning for the past 2 weeks.
Wow. Love it, dude. My next pick, what do you want to go? Threes tonight?
Yep. Are you
What-
taking the World Series matchup? I know you know what I'm talking about. Don't look it up.
No, I'm not taking the
No,
World Series. matchup.
you know what I was going to say or no?
No, what do you say?
There's a game between the Pirates and the Rays.
Oh, and you think that's gonna be the World Series matchup?
No, I was kidding, but I'm saying that they actually have been playing like the best teams in the league.
It's kind of ridiculous how well the Pirates, even for me,
Yeah.
specifically been playing. But no, I'm not taking that. I'm taking the Angels tonight against St. Louis. Steven Matz on the mound against Pablo Sandoval, dude, who's been pitching really well, for the Angels, which you love to see that because they've been dying. I know I said Patrick Sandoval. Excuse me.
I did the same thing.
I know, dude. Look at his last few outings here. Did kind of get roughed up by the Yankees, but after that bounce back in Oakland, 7 innings, 2 earned runs with 5 Ks. And then before the Yankees, Toronto 6 innings, 1 earned run. Oakland again 5 innings, 1 earned run. I think you can do well against St. Louis. I understand that they hit well, and they're in St. Louis, but I just feel like LA here between Ohtani, and then obviously Trout, and then Hunter Renfroe, I think has like over 20 RBI so far in the season too. He's been batting really well. I just think Steven Matz can really run into some trouble here. Look at what he's looked like for the season. The 6.23 ERA has not gotten a win this season yet. His most recent start was against San Francisco, only going 4 innings, giving up 6 hits, 3 walks, 2 earned runs. Before that, Seattle, 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 4 hits, 2 walks. 5 walks against Pittsburgh, got absolutely hammered by them, only lasted 5 innings. Doesn't give you depth. They can run into St. Louis's bullpen. It seems like Steven Matz, who was almost a bright spot there, seemingly is dimming. Give me LA winning this game 5-3.
All right. Speaking of that World Series matchup, give me the Pirates. Roansy Contreras on the mound, a guy I've been high on. I want to say he's 24, 25 years old, has good stuff. Love the way this Pirates lineup has been hitting, without O'Neal Cruz, which you thought would be devastating. And they're going up against Javi Guerra, limited action, 8.64 ERA. I think they have the clear advantage there. And it kind of, besides that, obviously the Pirates have been playing, good baseball. Just in terms of the Rays, I just think they're due to hit some hard times. You can't just keep coasting like this. And I think why not against a Pirates team that's shown their own. You look at Brian Reynolds, 5 homers, 23 RBIs, 320 batting average, 573 slug. A guy who might be up and coming, Connor Joe, plays first base, plays outfield, 4 homers, 11 RBIs, 288 average, and an OPS of 962, as well as the guy I've mentioned, Rodolfo Castro, 3 homers, 12 RBIs, 286, and also an OPS of 852. So all of those guys are contributing, as well as Andrew McCutcheon, who even has an 830 OPS, the grizzled vet in his return to Pittsburgh. Contreras, 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, 4 hits, and I want to say 2 earned runs. Pirates over the Rays. I'm going to say 5-3 to take this game tonight.
Love it, dude. My next pick, I'm going to go with the Mariners, actually. I'm looking up.
They're still playing? They've had a disappointing start, no?
The Mariners at 12-16, but they're playing Oakland tonight in Oakland, who are 6-23. So I think the Mariners a good series to jumpstart some offense. I think we're gonna have a battle of the Millers on the mound.
Shelby,
Bryce and Mason Miller, dude.
Okay, so.
Bryce Miller pitching for Seattle, just getting called up. First start of the season, first start of his career, I believe, as well. Then Mason Miller getting, I believe, his 3rd start for Oakland. He's 0-1 with a 6.48 ERA, getting beat up on. I think it was by LA, maybe the Nationals too. I don't know. Maybe LA and the Cards. Doesn't matter. I just think Seattle Give me I don't know. I would say a big night out of Teoscar Hernandez. I could see him just, bringing some nice pop with the bat, specifically 2 big pops with the bat. Maybe nice, another RBI single. So maybe 2 dingers for him, going through for 4 RBI single, 4 RBIs on the night. Catapulting Seattle with maybe a good start by Miller. Who knows? Maybe capturing lightning in a bottle. I believe they had announced a starter for tonight, but then ended up choosing Miller anyway. So kind of interesting take, I think. Maybe they expect a lot out of this kid. I would say give me 5 innings out of him, maybe 2 earned runs. But Oakland, obviously, I don't think they'll have enough firepower here to combat what Seattle can bring. So give me Mariners. I'll say 4-2.
I'm going to take the Houston Astros. Won last night. We saw them win against Sunday Night Baseball there. Presley almost running into trouble to take out the Phillies. And I think they're really due to hit their stride. Only 8-9 at home this year, 16-13 overall. Giants, they just beat them last night. DeScalfani's pitched well, but this Houston Astros lineup is deep. We know they can hit him. Hunter Brown, one of the top up-and-coming pitchers in the American League. I think he'll have no problem with this weak Giants offense. I'm going to say he goes 7 innings, 12 strikeouts, 3 hits, 1 walk, 1 run. And I think Jordan Alvarez missed some time with the hand injury, 3 home runs tonight. And I'm going to say the Astros all over the Giants, 9-2.
Wow, dude. Last pick, right?
No, I think that was it.
That was it?
3.
Oh, 3.
Yeah,
that's right. 3.
Mariners and Angels and Mets,
Angels.
obviously.
Right.
Yankees, Astros, Pirates.
Wow.
So I hope we're talking about some good baseball tomorrow. Let's just say that.
Let's just say that.
But let's just go quickly to the world of the National Basketball Association.
The Bulls go! LeBron James at the buzzer! He banks in the 3! And the Lakers win the game!
I feel like at some point in his life, Prefer has done stand-up comedy, honestly.
Why do you think that? Because there's predictions for tonight?
Yeah. Anyway, last night, NBA had a couple games here. Just wanted to touch on quickly the big thing, and Michael, the Houdini soundbite, all of that, bless you, did say Harden, would have 40-plus game winner, and he had 45 and 6 and iced them. So you have to give credit where credit is due. The Sixers 119-115 over the Celtics. So to steal game 1 on the road here, to do it without your best player in Joel Embiid, who looks like he's going to play next game, that's impressive stuff. And it has to beg the question, is this maybe finally the time that the Sixers, that Doc Rivers, can get, over the hump? And then, but first says Mike, New York Comedy Club in Stanford was great. I feel like he's saying that from watching the video, not actually going there. But otherwise, why wouldn't you just come here before?
Jay Bird says that was Comedy Barnes.
That was Comedy Barnes. There we go.
Making Jay Bird laugh.
So, I think this is impressive stuff from Philly. And with Embiid back for game 2, for them, if they could get these 2 first games and then go to Wells Fargo Center, this could really be a quick series. And this was despite Tatum 39 points. I mean, we know the superstar he is. Brown added 23. You look at the numbers, they're pretty good. They only missed 1 free throw out of 18, 38% from the floor, from 3-point range, 58.7 from, just shooting in general. But the Sixers, made 17 3-pointers. So I think that was the difference. They were also lights out from the line, 12-12. And in addition to Harden's 45, you got 26 out of Tyrese Maxey, as well as 18 from Tobias Harris, Melton with 17 off the bench. So kind of a sleeper here in a sense. I kind of think this could, be a Sixers team that could finally get over the hump and make it to an NBA final.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. The other game last night, we saw the Denver Nuggets take a 2-0 lead as this series shifts to Phoenix. And I have to say, I thought the Suns would come out with a better effort, but does it surprise anybody that here we go again with Chris Paul, a hamstring injury? It seems like this is a yearly thing with him in the playoffs. You only got through 25 minutes before he had to leave. Durant had 24 points, 8 rebounds, but only 2 of 12 from 3-point range. The Suns as a team, 6 of 31. That's why you score 87 points in a playoff game. Booker had 35, but he also missed 15 shots. And they only got to the free throw line 5 times, which is a little concerning. As far as the Nuggets, Jokic, as you would expect, 39 points, 16 rebounds. Another massive game from him. They got to the line 21 times, converted on 18 of those attempts, and then got help from Gordon, who had 16 points, and Caldwell Pope while playing good defense, scoring 14. So impressive stuff of the Nuggets. I think they're still slept on, but despite, with that sentiment that they were the best team in the West this year. And I think it just shows that, despite the firepower of the Phoenix Suns, it's teams win games, not players. So I think that's why we've seen them struggle. And now it's all important game 3. Suns have to win. Otherwise, you could say sayonara, Tony. You do have Heat Knicks.
Sayonara.
Heat Knicks tonight. Knicks right now 6.5-point favorites. I'm guessing that means that they don't think Butler's going to play. Obviously they want to, take game 2 here. It says 23 minutes ago, ankle remains questionable for game 2. He might try to push through it after he sprained his right ankle. And then Shams is saying Butler wants to play. I think he's going to try to play today. That sprain wasn't as serious as we saw. We'll learn more in the coming hours. So something to keep an eye out for. But I said this yesterday. I do think the Knicks will win game 2. Right. Garden behind them. Obviously, there's disappointment in the air there with the Rangers. They want the Knicks to kind of pick up the slack here. I think they will tonight. I think that you're going to see Brunson, who I know was banged up. I think he's going to end up giving it a go. He's going to have 30 points, 15 assists, and the Knicks a gritty 98-99 victory over the Miami Heat.
Wow.
And who else but RJ Barrett, the game-winning floater with 0.4 on the clock. Poetic justice at its finest. Setting up, Tony, game 1, Lakers, Warriors, your 2 favorite teams here. And, this is obviously a big game. A series, I think, could go the distance. But I think the Lakers just have the advantage, overall consistency. I know I think the Warriors won 2 games last series on the road. I think it's going to be a lot tougher against the Lakers. We've seen how well they've played and how deep they are. You know what I mean? It's not just, worry about LeBron and AD. If they don't beat you, no one else will. When you have guys that are productive in the lineup, like a D'Angelo Russell, and even Austin Reeves, who at time, has superstar tendencies with his shooting. You think about Malik Beasley. You think about even what Jared Vanderbilt, has offered, Dennis Schroeder. There's a lot of different ways that the Lakers can beat you. So I think they will take game 1 tonight on the road. The Warriors 4.5-point favorites. But I want to say LeBron, 35-point triple-double, staring down Steph at the end of the game. And I know Michael's chuckling about that one. But I'm going to say the Lakers here, 110-104. Taking game 1 on the road here. And I believe he has a couple comments.
He does. He says James Harden outscored Tatum and Brown in the 4th by himself.
There you go.
And then he says Jokic is the best leader out on that floor.
The intensity, the work ethic, like no other, Michael.
That's crazy.
Has anything changed, Tony, with you, with the Rangers out in terms of, turning on a basketball game or 2?
I'd rather watch hockey.
No matter what team, no matter what the scenario.
I mean, no, I would say scenario. If it was like game 7 of a series for NBA as opposed to like game 2 of a series for hockey, I'd probably be flipping back and forth, maybe favoring the NBA, especially like excited to see Michael. He was pumped about the game yesterday, about the Sixers and the Celtics.
Okay.
Like he was like, yo, like 4th quarter, it was a tight game. He's like, let's tune in here, like during the intermission. Like that was good to see from him. That made me more excited to watch the game as well. Which is really what it's all about. I mean, who wants to watch sports alone,
Are there any Nick roots in the Materiello family tree?
Yeah. My uncles on my mom's side are Knicks fans.
Knicks fans, yeah. They're bringing up they're carrying the weight though in that department. There's not too much interest other than that.
Yeah, no, not at all. And even with them, it's like they watch, but it's not like Knicks or die.
Do or die. So interesting stuff. We'll see. I think these are a couple good games tonight. But other than that, Tony, I guess we got is it episode of Screen Time today or no?
Yeah, of course, Brian. It's Tuesday. It's almost noon. That means it's almost time.
Should we just start the intro now?
Yeah, honestly. Just in a mere 20 minutes, so get up, go to the bathroom, maybe heat up a nice burrito or something, sit back in your seat and listen to Screen Time. We're reviewing a couple movies on the watch list, which is a movie you would like, honestly. Glengarry Glen Ross, Alec Baldwin, Al Pacino, Ed Harris, great cast. It's about selling real estate too. Like it's like, dude, it's a great cast, great movie. That was kind of our watch list. I think it came out way back in like 96, I think, or something. Talking about the new Peter Pan movie that came out too on Disney Plus. Jay's calling in to talk about his thoughts. And a couple things, going on in the movie world. I think a big writers guild just went on strike. I don't know if you heard about that, but
yeah, thank God we don't have to listen to those terrible late shows.
Interesting, dude.
Who watches those? Those people aren't funny.
I used to when I was a kid. I mean, David Letterman was funny, dude. Come on, you ever watch David Letterman? Currently, no, I don't like the current guys. Again,
why watch that though? I don't like, haha. Like I don't understand it.
I don't know. I think people watch it, more towards for certain actors that are on to be interviewed too. Yeah. Like I would do that, but again, I don't really watch. I'm not even up that late, honestly. Watching late night television, get the fuck out of here. But it's pretty interesting to see what may happen to late night television. Something that's been such like. Doesn't
this happen though every like 7-8 years? I remember other strikes before.
Yeah, of course there's been strikes, but I mean, viewership to these late night shows, Manny was telling me all-time low, like a fraction of what it used to be. And it's, what's going to happen next? Who's,
take them off the air.
So
guys Fallon's bloated salary and
it may be, dude.
Kimmel. I mean, come on, we could do without those guys. And I know Michael knows it. And he's asking, you're not going to watch the next game with them?
Michael, I would be more than happy to watch the next games with you. Are you watching the next games tonight, dude? Are we watching the game? Dude?
No, I think you said you were watching Fallon, and then you.
No, I'm not going to watch. Kimmel. Get the fuck out of here! No, I don't like.
And then who's the guy? Conan O'Brien.
I like Conan O'Brien, but I'm not watching these guys instead of sports. I think at this point, no.
I don't think anybody is, Tony. And that's why they are going off the air as we are.
Tune in to Screen Time at noon.
Just for right now, but we will be back at it. Did we have a comment there, or that was just a change of pace?
No, it looks like we have a little Matthew Gabriel at the end there.
Go Knicks.
Go Knicks. Hope they win the finals, dude.
So there we go for Matthew at the buzzer. But once again, what a show. And I really appreciate everybody hanging in there with us. We know it's a tough time right now. After that Rangers loss last night, what the Yankees are going through. Tony has a renewed sense of optimism for the Mets. As Matthew says, give us something for New York. And he's definitely right about that. But we encourage you to continue to comment, like, and subscribe. All of the archives on the YouTube page, Tony, Michael, Renee in costume, as well as the new video out. I believe it was Sunday that it was dropped on the Stanford Comedy Club.
That's right.
You definitely want to check that out if you haven't already, as well as the other episodes of Sportsport, of Screen Time, of The Dream is Free, of our vlog series, of Gaming Corner, of the Mighty Morphin Power Plungers as well as the merch at downtimetv.com. Spring is in the air. And Matthew's saying, go do a deep dive into the archives. Get in there. And we know he's thinking about Jimmy Nance on the course, Rochester. But let's go Yankees. Tony wants to say, let's go Mets.
Let's go Mets, dude.
Definitely check out Screen Time, and we will see you.
Hey guys, Tony here from Downtime TV checking in. I want to thank all our fans out there who's been liking, subscribing, sharing our content. You guys are the best. You guys are our bloodline. You make us love what we do. Thanks again.